So, welcome everybody to yet another live interview show with Become a Fearless Father. And today I am accompanied by Mike Maitland. Mike, thank you so much for joining. And I want to start off with a question because I'm very interested to knowing from a 2 Comma Club Award winner.
Sure.
What does it mean for you to be a dadpreneur?
A dadpreneur, well, I'm telling you, it's difficult. It's difficult to be a dadpreneur. I've got 5 kids. So the oldest is 11, almost 12, and the youngest is 2. And it's nice sometimes to work from home. So if I don't lock the door, if I forget to lock the door, then my little 2-year-old will come in and run in and give me a hug, and it really boosts me up, and also distracts me from whatever I'm doing. But I like that kind of distraction. And to be a dadpreneur, like, it's tough. It's tough because you've got to manage like a business which already has so many aspects and complexities, and then you have like a family on top. But I think that everybody should do it, because if you get too mixed up in like things that are not human, like business processes and like different things that really are good and helps you to learn, but they're not really human, then I think you lose. I don't know, like I probably won't be liked for this comment for people who don't have kids, but I think you lose a little bit of your humanity. Like I think you're a little bit too focused on things that aren't human-like, and having kids reminds me, and even just this week, it reminded me that I need to pay attention to what my kids are receiving in terms of the messages and the learning. I need to make sure that they're receiving things that will help them and not things that will hinder them. My daughter is spending too much time on YouTube, and she's only 11. But at the dinner table, she's starting to have conversations about YouTube videos that she's watched, which would be fine if it was just 1 or 2. But it seems to be like every conversation. And I'm like, I'm doing something wrong here. Like the only thing she wants to talk about is what she's watched on YouTube. So that's kind of like made me think, right, what can I do to kind of inspire her, not control her, but inspire her to kind of have more interests. And she has got interests, but maybe we're giving her a bit too much freedom on the computer.
Maybe she should start her own YouTube channel.
She should. I've actually suggested that. It's a lot harder than you think, though. We've thought about some topics, and I'm like, so what do you want to talk about? She's like, I don't know. She actually learned how to make slime from YouTube, and she sold a couple of tubs of slime that she had made to some neighborhood kids. So that was pretty cool.
Hello.
Hey, my door doesn't have a lock, so I'll get every single time. Have fun, guys. Bye-bye. They go into summer camp for 3 hours every morning for the next 3 weeks, which gives me a little bit to do something. Yeah. They're very excited. They love it. And they get swimming lessons 2 times a week. So they're spending their summer so far very well. Let's see how the other weeks go. After these 3 weeks, I got 7 more weeks to go. So
yeah, you gotta fill their time and get them doing some worthwhile stuff. That's what me and my wife are challenged with right now, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I really appreciate you sharing that. That's some great insight on your view on dadpreneur, and I absolutely agree. Even though the challenges are different, I wouldn't change it for the world. Working at a 9 to 5 and having to deal with those challenges, right? I mean, I rather prefer right now being interrupted during a live interview by my kids than not having any interruptions at all, like you said, and just be engaged in your business, and that's the only thing that you can do because you're away from the office, you're in the 9 to 5, and not seeing them grow up, right? Because another dad probably wouldn't even notice that his daughter is spending so much time on YouTube, right? Because they're just not there. So I really appreciate you. Thank you. There we go. See, Christopher always comes on. Good morning, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you, brother.
Hey, Chris.
So let's dive in, Mike. before I want to continue, and I forgot to ask, man, is this something that's, because I tried to look for a website, I couldn't find it. Is this something good for me and for everybody else to share and check out? Because we are going to dive into this a little bit later.
Yeah, that's my Facebook group. So you can join the free Facebook group and get information from me about how to build a business. So,
excellent. Yeah, which is very important for Dadpreneur. So I'm going to leave that up while you, and for people, it's in the comment section. You just can click on it and check out the Facebook group of Mike. Mike, share with us your origin story. You already shared you got 5 kids, but yeah, share a little bit extra. I always want to share with other Dadpreneurs what your family setup is as well, and just to get the whole picture, right?
Well, I've got a short version and a long version, so we don't know what will happen at this point. But way back when I was, I went on a mission from my church. I came back from a mission, and I was like, what am I going to do with myself? I was 22 years old. And I thought, do you know what? People normally go to university, so how about I go to university? So I opened up the university prospectus in Scotland, and I looked at different things that I could do, and nothing at all stuck out to me. In fact, nothing interested me at all. And I looked through the whole prospectus, and I thought, well, obviously I can't go to university if nothing interests me. So I chucked it away for a bit, forgot about it, and then I actually got the desire to study a certain subject by watching a chick flick. Now I'm going to ruin this chick flick for you all, so sorry about that. But it's called A Walk to Remember. It's about this high school couple, and they're walking along mid-film, and she falls down and she's terminally ill, and he's like distraught, and she's like, I'm not going to be able to fulfill my bucket list. And she had like 100 things on her bucket list, and he, romantic as he was, he fulfilled them for her. And so he named a star for her, and he stood in 2 places at the same time, just stupid stuff. But it made me think, like, what is it that I really want? Mm-hmm. Like, and I thought, well, I want more time with my family. How can I do that? Well, if I owned my own business, I'd have more time. And immediately, that's where my desire to own my own business came from. And so I went back to the university prospectus, and I thought, how am I going to own my own business? I'll learn at university. So I opened it up, and the business course stuck out to me, and it was like, that's it. That's how I'm going to learn how to own my own business. So fast forward 3 years, I finished my business degree, and I felt like I had been scammed. I was like, I don't know any different now than before I started. But there's one thing that I did learn at university. I had really good lecturers that taught me how to question everything and re-question even the questioning. And so that was a good skill to learn. And I had been to Thailand a little bit, and midway through university, I said to my boss in Thailand, I was like, hey, I want to send people to teach English in Thailand, what I've just done, and I've just had a great experience doing it. Will you pay me a couple £100 per person? He said, yeah, sure. So I started recruiting people to Thailand on a very, very ad hoc basis, very part-time. I'm talking like a couple of hours every couple of months. But I paid my mate 50 quid for him to make a website for me. I put a classified ad out, and I got some people in. The first 3 people I sent were 3 of my mates. And I got paid 600 quid for just sending my mates. £600 for those that don't know what quid is. But then the next 6 months came along, and I sent 3 Australians I'd never met, never spoke to on the phone, just sent their resumes to my boss, and he accepted them. So I got paid for them. Fast forward 2 years, and my little classified ad had generated 90 applications in August 2009. And I only had 10 spaces for my boss. So I did the calculations. I was like, 90 times 200 equals millions. Like, I could make millions out of this. So I told my wife, I was like, hey, I need to go to Thailand. I need to get more spaces. And she's like, you just want to go for a holiday. I was like, no, I don't. Look at these applications. And she's like, I don't know, it's expensive. Because we didn't have much money. Because I was still not really working much. And we took the punt. And so I arrived in Thailand for 10 days. I had 3 appointments set up every day. I had my suit and my tie on. And I went to these appointments with schools and agencies trying to get these 90 people placed. And appointment after appointment after appointment, they all thought I was a great, nice guy, charming guy, because I am. And they all said, we don't want any of your guys. So I was like, oh my word, what am I going to tell my wife? And I'm going to have to go home and say I've wasted all the money. And had a nice time in Thailand, but we didn't get anyone placed. But I had one other appointment, and it was down in the south of Thailand. And I had booked a flight for the morning to come back in the evening. So it was a 1-day flight and back to Bangkok. So I arrived at 10, and the guy called me. He's like, oh, I've had a crisis at school. Can you hang around the mall for a couple of hours and then come and see me? And I was like, okay, sure, fine. And then 12 p.m. came, and I called him. He's like, oh, I'm still at the school, but you can go to the office and wait for me. I'll be there soon. So I found my way to the office, and I arrived there. There's this Thai girl sitting at reception, and she was nice and friendly. And I started a conversation with her. And after about half an hour, I ran out of stuff to say. So, like, I was sitting there waiting for another 5.5 hours. And I don't know if you've ever sat with anyone, like, when it's just you and them for 5.5 hours. I didn't have a mobile phone in those days. And so it was pretty awkward. And anyway, by the time he came at 5:20, my flight was at 7:30. So I still need to get to the airport. At 5:20 he came. I was really, really angry and really, really annoyed. But I was the most politest person you'll ever meet. Like, I kept it all inside me. And I was like, oh, yes, blah, blah, blah. Because obviously I wanted my guys placed. And the first thing he said was, okay, so just so you know, we don't want any of your guys. So I was like, oh my word, what a freaking waste of time. But he said, but I want you to sell our TEFL course. It's on a paradise island in Thailand, and you can add your bit on top and you can start marketing it for us. I'm like, hold on, mate. Like, I thought, he's taking me down here on a false pretense. I thought he was interested in taking my guys. Now you're trying to get me to sell something else. So I was like, I've never taken money off real people before, just off businesses. I don't know if I can do this. He's like, well, have a think about it. So initially I was like, no. Then when I went home to the UK, I thought, do you know what? It's on a paradise island. It's teaching English as a foreign language. TEFL, TEFL. It's kind of heavenly. TEFL Heaven. Oh, I'll call it TEFL Heaven. So I got another website, got it made cheap, called it TEFLheaven.com, and started doing my little classified ad again. And I recruited my mate, and he did some interviews for me because I didn't have free time. I was busy at university doing another certificate. And we got 16 people on it. And it was amazing. And then after 2 months, I said to my mate, we've ran out of money. And there's no more prospects. And so he had to go get another job. But we saved £1,000. We went to Thailand. We met with everybody, and we found that they had a great experience learning how to teach English, and they had a guaranteed job afterwards. And then the next 6 months came. I tweaked it a little bit, improved the offer, and it grew. I got 31 people on it. And then the next 6 months, it grew even more. I got like 50. Then I got 100. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And now every year, we send 400 or more people to teach English in Thailand on a training course for the first 4 weeks. And then they get a job afterwards. And we also do 11 different other countries as well. Same thing. So the points to learn about that story is that it was the market that told me what to do. I'd spent so much time trying to do this. The market turned around and said, hey, you're selling something £200 per person. It's not enough. The course now that I sell is like $2,000 per person, right? And I would never have got to that level as if someone hadn't said, hey, you're selling the wrong thing. Why don't you sell this for me? And I almost said no, but I'm glad I did it. And I improved it all. And so, yeah, so that's basically my origin story. Throughout that whole time, I was having different kids along the way. And I moved to Thailand in 2011 with 2 kids. I tested the waters with kids. So we stayed here for 5 months, and then we went back, and we knew we could do it. So then in 2013, we moved here with our whole family, which was 3 kids at that time. And now I've got 5. But we tested the waters, and our kids, it's just a really safe place to grow up. And I'm glad that I can provide for them in a way with this business. So that's my origin story.
Nice, man. I appreciate it. So now you live in Bangkok, right? You mentioned.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome. I love it. And how long have you been married with your wife?
Almost 13 years.
Nice. All right. Cool picture. I appreciate that. So So with that, like everybody can see behind, right? That's the award for a 2 Comma Cup award winner.
Yeah.
That's an awesome achievement. Then 5 kids, right? Married 13 years. Life in Bangkok is crazy. So how do you achieve for yourself? What does the word balance then mean for you in such a crazy environment?
What does the word balance mean? Well, right now, nothing. So basically, when you only have a short amount of time with your kids, you need to make sure that time is quality time. And right now, I have a lot. Like when people say, when I had my idea in the beginning, hey, I want more time freedom. I was kind of a bit deceived. Like you really have to put in the hours to make your business work. And right now, I'm having to sacrifice some time with my kids because I have a few holes that I need to plug in the business. And literally, I'm the only one that can do it. Like once I set up these systems, I can leverage myself, or I can use other people to leverage, and I can go like. So there are times where you spend more time with your kids. So for example, in the next month, I'm going to the UK, and I've already planned out almost the whole month to spend with my kids and my wife and my family. But there will be days when in the early mornings I'll be working, and in the late evenings I'll be working. I haven't got the business to a point yet, even at the 2 Comma Club, I haven't got the business to a point yet that I can let go. Like, and I don't know whether I'll ever be able to do that, but I have got a lot of really good people. And it does depend on how you leverage. Like you can either leverage with systems or you can leverage with people, right? But you literally, if you try and do it all yourself, you'll never grow past a certain point of revenue. Like you need to learn how to leverage other people and make sure that they're doing tasks in the same vision that you've got. And they might not be the same ability, but at least the same vision, the same values, because then they'll learn how to get better. And so balance is, I think that it's impossible to have balance. I don't know. Like, I just think that you're in a world as a dadpreneur, you're in a world where you have spinning plates. So you ever seen magicians like spinning plates, spin some here, spin some there, and they have maybe about 20 plates spinning at the same time. And as one plate's just about to fall, they run over and they start spinning it again. And they're continually going to the plate that's just about to fall. And as a dadpreneur, like you're going to have plates that smash on the ground. And one thing that you need to pay attention to the most, number one, is the plate of your wife. Your wife's plate. She's more important than anything else. Okay, so if your wife's not good with you, if my wife's not supporting me, if I've offended her, I can't work properly. I can't do it. I'm just like, oh no, I need to fix this. Sometimes I can't fix it quickly as well because it's something that I need to do that I haven't done. And so you make sure that your wife is good, and you make sure that your wife is cared for and loved and looked after. Next is your kids. Next plate is your kids. Now, sometimes the plate's going to get a bit wobbly and you'll get indications, like I'm just explaining to you, actually, explaining at the start of this call. You'll see things like my daughter is talking about YouTube videos too much. And I'd love for her to talk about like some conversation she had with some neighborhood kids or something that she's learned on a piano or like something like that. But no, she's talking about YouTube videos. And I'm like, and these YouTube videos are a load of rubbish as well. They're like cartoons or something. And it would be fine just one. But if it's like continuous, that's when the warning bells come off. This plate's getting wobbly. I better go over and wobble that plate faster so that basically I can deal with that. But the things that smash are going to be the mistakes that you make in business. And honestly, I am, if this was real life, I'd be walking on broken plates in the quest to get the 2 Comma Club award and afterwards. I was talking to my business coach, one of my business coaches yesterday, and he was like, I am having like breakdowns 4 times a day. And I was like, me too, man. Like, I'm having breakdowns all the time. Like, the overwhelm is immense. And so no one should think that if you get the 2 Comical Award, you're going to be like, yeah, man, this is plain sailing from here. Like, as an entrepreneur, as a dadpreneur, like, it's just not like that. You just have to get used to the overwhelm, and you just have to get used to getting out of that headspace and have tactics and strategies, and make sure you spin the right plates. And it's okay if some plates smash, because you can actually pick them up and sellotape them back together, a lot of them. And so that's basically what I believe about balance. There really isn't balance. It's just continually, like, I guess, as long as you put the biggest priorities first, then you've got balance. Yeah, there you go.
I like that. I like the analogy. That makes it very clear, and I actually see you spinning.
Yeah. I was spinning in my mind when I was telling you that as well. I was like, oh,
exactly.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's how you go. In the YouTube plate. That's awesome. I love that explanation. I appreciate that. You mentioned something, right? So you gotta continuously pay attention. So you got 5 kids, man. I got 2, and sometimes I'm like, dude, how do I keep trying to connect with both of them, right? Because you want to give each of them the same time and the same amount of love, and, well, maybe not the same time, but the same amount of quality time, the same amount of hugs, kisses, making sure that they love you, making sure that they're understood, etc.
Hey, Klaas, I'll share something with you. So 1 kid rocks your world. You know this, right? 2 kid. Well, 1 kid is brand new, and it's like, whoa, what do I do? What do I do? 2 kids is like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing here. 3 kids rocks you. 3 kids rocks you. You're like, whoa. Like, there's only 2 of us, so we can only, like, run after 1 each. So what was the other one? 4 kids, 3 to 4, is like manageable, but we had a big gap. It was like 3 years.
Okay.
So it was like 3 years, and then we had the 3rd, and then 3 years, and we had the 4th. So it was a bit more manageable, right? They're a bit older. But 4 to 5, oh my word. There were days where I was having like 10 breakdowns a day at that time, because I was just like, how do I handle all this? Like, this is just because the other 2 were close together, the last 2. And so, yeah, like, with what you said there about like, when you have more kids, the assumption is that, how do you give them the time that they need? Well, actually, like, you can do more in like 5 minutes. Some quality, like, trusted, like, conversation than some dads do with 1 kid over a lifetime. Like, if you're not paying attention to, like, how your kids grow up and what you're teaching them, it doesn't matter if you have 1, 5, 10, like, it's all the same. You can bring up, I believe, like, some really good kids and have a lot of kids at the same time, but you do have to have the right values, and you have to also manage your time effectively. And the temptation is that the younger kids demand your time. The older kids are off doing their own thing. And so the temptation is just play with the younger kids, because it's more fun anyway, because they're so cute. But you have to really be like, no, what's happening with my older kids right now? And that's the stage that I'm at. I'm like, okay, what's going on? And let's see what I can do here. How can I improve this? It's tough. It is tough. Like, it is. I celebrate and I congratulate all fathers who have to bring up kids, because it's a tough thing, and it takes a lot of emotional labor, and it takes a lot of heart, and it's easy to give up at times, and you do give up numerous times. Like, there's not any dad that doesn't be like, I just can't be bothered anymore. I'm just going to, like, sleep. I'm sure, like, every dad gets that. If not, then I'm the only one. But it's not every day. Some days you are motivated, and some days you can make a difference, and other days you're like, I don't know how to get through to these people, these little people. So
yeah, I absolutely I take naps at the moment with my kids. Screw it. It's hot here, right? It's like 35 degrees Celsius. It's hot. I wake up early to get everything set up, and then they can then get ready for the summer camp. They come back, they're all excited. We have lunch, and after that, it's like, we're gonna relax a little bit. They're like, yep. And it's some days, man, I fall asleep before they do. They start playing. I wake up after 30 minutes. Like, what is going on here? Hey, as long as I have fun, I don't burn down the house. I'm good. I took my little power nap, so let's go again. But that's cool, man. I like that. So you mentioned something very powerful, right? Just even if you spend like 5 minutes really focused, intentional on your kids, that's where the power lies. That's where you create the balance to make sure that, all your kids do know that you're there.
Obviously spend more time with them. I'm not saying I'm not saying 5 minutes. I'm not saying 5 minutes a day, just in case your listeners are like, this guy, he just spends 5 minutes a day with his kids. You spend more time than that. But what I'm saying is the quality, not the quantity.
Yeah, exactly. The focus, the intention, and what you do with them. So I'm wondering, what are some of the things, because the age difference is so huge. Like, I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and we pretty much do everything that the 6-year-old finds fun, and the 3-year-old just comes along and does it anyway, because he just looks up to his brother. And so I'm kind of lucky in that aspect. But going from 11 to 2, that's a huge gap, right? You can't just say like, okay, yeah, we're all going to go to, I don't know, the amusement park. We're going to all go for a walk, or I don't know, whatever it is, right? Because the gap's too big. How do you? What are some of the things that you do then to make sure that you connect and create some experiences or adventures or just quality time together with each of the different stages? Whatever stages, can you say that? Like where they get in life right now?
Yeah, so there's a lot of activities that everyone can do together, like swimming. That's an activity that everyone can do together. Trampoline parks, those are quite good. For like play centers, like soft play, the older ones are like past that now, but actually, like, you can still get them involved. I still get involved. What I did one time when we were at a play center, a soft play center, was that the younger ones were obviously having a great time, but I made it a competition. So I went in there and I was like, right, older kids, let's see who can climb up this thing the fastest. I'll count down to 3, 2, 1, go. And then they'd run up this like sort of tower thing and see, and I'd time them. I'd like, beep, okay, 5 seconds, Ellie, right, Jaden, you're next. And then, like, so if you make it, you can make anything fun, really. But sometimes when I'm not in that kind of mood, and I just want to chill out myself, then just make sure that the older ones bring a book, bring a book. If it's like a soft play center, everyone can go on a walk. Like, walks are really good. Walks in nature are really good. So that's one good idea. Sometimes we do some plays together. So we try and get them together to have like a family night where we reenact some sort of play. I used to do Aladdin. Aladdin was like what we used to do. We used to have a carpet, and they used to sing A Whole New World, and I told them to be like, do you trust me? Like, we'd do that bit. Elsa and Anna as well, a couple of times. But sometimes, let me just tell you, sometimes there's just nothing there. There's nothing in the mind. It's just like, oh, what are we going to do? Can't think of anything. I've come up with lots of stories. We currently have names for all the kids for this special themed story thing that I have. So Eliana, her name is Jessie. Jaden, his name is Benny. Jessie and Benny. And then Esme, her name is Bolo. Bolo's a weird one. And then Eva's Solo, and Caleb, he's the youngest. He's Coco. So we have names for each one, and then I tell stories about Jessie and Benny. And Coco was flying a kite, and suddenly he was pulled up in the air. And everyone knows that Coco is the little baby Caleb, and so they're all excited because Coco's like flying. And I'm like, quick, Bolo, call mom. So Bolo calls mom, and then She's like, bring, Mum, quick. Coco's in the air on a kite. We need to save him. And then Mum comes along and she's like, oh, what shall we do? So I just kind of make it up as we go along, really. And they find that fun. So they're always asking for Jenny and Bessie. Benny and Jessie stories. Telling stories is a good one, and I quite like telling stories as well. I like get really into it, and like I make it really like death defying. It's like, oh no, what's going to happen next? Like I get really emotionally into it.
Nice, I like that. So in those story times, man, who's the biggest kid, you or the kids?
Well, I'm okay to a point, but I mean, when you're so like into it, and then you don't know I don't know what the heck is going to happen next myself in this story. So sometimes I'm like totally drained of energy, and they're like, "What happens next, Dad? What happens next?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know."
They all fell asleep.
I don't know what happens next. Like, do you want to switch the TV on? So,
yeah, I can understand that, but I love that. I read bedtime stories. I've never actually taken the time to create a story, so that'd be pretty cool to try. And
they're so engaged. They get so engaged, Klaas. I'm telling you, like you can engage them so much because if you're excited, like this is what a true marketer is, right? True marketer gets your audience in the state that you want them to be in. So if you were excited, you're telling your story and you were excited, then you're excited in the story. If you were sad because it just didn't go well, then you're sad in the story. Do you know what I mean? And then they feel that, and you can literally control their state. So just like marketing.
Exactly. I like that reference as well. Let me ask you this then, because of course, one end is the kids. You just mentioned like the most important plate that must be spinning at all times is my wife's plate, right? So how do you make sure that plate keeps spinning?
Yeah, well, that is the age-old question. So awareness is one, like being aware is one, but I'm definitely not a perfect husband. And even this week I made a mistake and was in the doghouse. That's what you call it in the UK. You're in the doghouse. You're in the bad books, because you did something that was wrong and it was my fault. So how to keep that plate spinning? Well, you try and understand the situation, and you try and like the best couples are the best forgivers, really. And I think my wife is one of the easiest people to get along with. She's the most patient person I've ever met. I met a lot of people in my life. I didn't marry her because she was so patient. That just seems to be an outcome of what happened. She's just a really, really good person. I don't know anyone that has ever disliked her, and that's saying something. So a lot of people dislike me, but no one ever dislikes her. So it's a credit to me when she's next to me. When she's next to me, I'm like, people will like me now, because look. But how do you keep the plate spinning? You got to pay attention. You got to really pay attention to what your wife needs. You have to listen. You have to share as well. Like, I don't know how other people's relationships are, but I get surprised sometimes when I see that some husbands aren't sharing everything with their wives. Like, I want to give my wife my entire heart, like even the bad stuff. And so I'll share some things with her that are quite very personal to me, and hopefully she'll understand. There's been some times where she's not understood. I'm like, oh crap, shouldn't have said that. But most of the time, I feel like she understands. She's on my side. So yeah, you have to really talk through a lot. Communication is a massive thing. And the problems that I have in my relationship are always due to miscommunication problems. Even this problem this week, it was a miscommunication problem, and we misunderstood each other. And the more and I'm not just talking about talking. I'm not just saying talking to your wife, because everyone can talk to their wife. I'm saying like communicating and converging together and unifying, like be unified. It's like, right, how are we going to bring up the kids together? I don't like this. Okay, well, let's talk about it because I think a different way. We don't always agree, but we agree a lot of the time. And it's good if you choose someone that has similar values to you. I think a lot of problems in relationships come because people are so far apart in values. They've been attracted to each other, like physically and emotionally, but in terms of their values are way off. And so when it comes to the crunch, when you have to make decisions together, that is when you realize how different your values are and stuff. And it's okay if your values are different in some things, but there are some key things that if your values are different, you're going to have big problems later on. So I don't know if that's a good thing to say or a bad thing to say, because if you're already married and you're like, oh no, we have different values.
Our values are off. Crap.
Yeah.
It's still possible. But yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. It makes life easier if all your values are okay. But on the other end, what you mentioned, I think is even more important is understanding, like communicating, but understanding, okay, what, man, a woman and a man are completely different in how they think and etc. That's what I'm discovering more and more, right? I mean, they from my wife sees stuff, right? I just don't.
Are you talking about messy rooms? Because that's where I fall down as well.
Yeah.
Look how messy this room is. What do you mean?
Exactly. So, but that's just a different opinion, right? So it's just like, okay, so why do you then explain it to me? Why do you think this is messy? So I can understand and I can look better at it next time, right? Because I can tell it like, hey, look, if you think it's messy, go ahead and clean it up. Because that will get you in the doghouse, right?
Yeah,
so,
you'd be well in the doghouse there. Too right.
For a week, chained up.
Too right, and your kennel never coming out for a couple of months.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's what I've learned is like, and I told her last time. I said, look, I apologize, but I clearly do not see things the way you see them. So we just gotta come up with a way where I need to understand better, like what is it that you see that I'm missing here, and that's the way you get that done. And you mentioned something very powerful as well, is that look, it's not her because you can't control her, so it's always you, right? And at least you can control yourself. You can change yourself. You can figure out like, okay, sometimes I do something, she gets upset. I have no idea, like, what did I do? Yeah. But that comes from different perspectives. So and I got the same wife, man. Everybody loves my wife, man. People I connect with on live interviews, but people here in Spain, man, they do not like me, which is fine. But I'm difficult, I guess. So anyway, man, we talked about everything in regards to your surroundings. We're gonna go into business a little bit later, but there's one thing we haven't discussed, and that's Mike himself. So what do you get to yourself with all this, all these plates going on? There's one plate as well that's got to keep moving. It's your own plate, right? So how do you make sure that Mike's plate keeps moving as well? What are some of the things that you do that you can share that might be useful for people to think about and maybe start doing as well?
Okay. So this is probably going to be, I don't know, some people are going to relate to this. Some people definitely aren't. Because I'm a religious guy, and if I read my scriptures, the Bible and the Book of Mormon is what I read. If I read them in the morning, I have such an easier day than if I didn't. And the peace that comes when I'm sitting there reading and pondering and thinking, I have a little spot. It's like literally just right there. I'm looking at it right now. So I've got an armchair next to the window, and I read some stuff, and I look out the window, and I do some prayers, and I feel ready for the day. So if I have that in the morning, then I'm good for the day. And if I don't have that, I am like not the same Michael Ross Maitland. Like I am just a lot more stressed. plates smash a lot faster. And so you have to look after yourself. You have to have some self-care. Now, one other thing that I've only done a tiny bit is a little bit of meditation. And when you say the word meditation, it's like, well, what? I'm not a monk. Like, what's that all about? But actually, what I've learned what meditation is just clearing your mind of everything. So focusing on your breathing, or just focusing on like something that's happening around you, trying not to focus on your problems. And it just gives you like this refresher, gives your mind a refresher. So when you come back to thinking about problems, you've got a different perspective on it. So I've only done that a tiny bit, but I can see the relevance of it. And when I am reading the scriptures, it's kind of a meditation because I am just thinking about the scriptures. But what comes to me is like answers to my problems, like God or Heavenly Father, whatever you want to say. Gives me answers and helps me to solve the problems that I have. So very, very beneficial. I cannot say to you that I get great sleep, cannot say to you that I eat well, and cannot say to you that I exercise, because I don't, which is something that I need to change, I know. And it is having an effect on my health now. I'm 37 years old, so I'm not a young pup anymore. My metabolism's slowing down. I'm putting on more weight. I'm bigger than I've ever been. And it's affected me, really is affecting my energy levels, and I know that I need to change that about myself. So not a very good example in that sense. So that's how I look after me, and I make sure I have my nice little treats as well. So I'll go to the cinema a lot. I like chilling out there. We watch Netflix in the evenings together. Just nice things like that. Nice treat things. I actually do play some squash though. I've got squash courts here. Like doing that with my wife, and we sometimes go for a massage, which is very, very cheap here in Thailand, and that's really nice. That's like really relaxing.
I bet. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I just want to share real quick is your openness and honesty to share, like, hey, this and this, and I want to do this, but I'm not. I know how important it is. I really appreciate that. So thank you for being so open about that. That takes some bravery right there, some courage.
Yes, well, I'm pretty much being an open book. So sometimes I get in trouble. Sometimes I get in trouble for it because I just basically say what it is, the way it is. I wish I could say to you that I'll exercise and sleep well. That's what I've been trying to do for years now. Yeah. It's just one thing I've let go. It's one of those plates that has smashed. Yeah. And I'm trying to sellotape it up. But I've ran out of sellotape. Ran out of glue. And I pretend I don't know where to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. There's a store right around the corner probably, but that's all right. I appreciate that, man. So one of the things that I noticed from a post and checking out your Facebook profile a little bit, I always like to stalk my the people I interview before I start. I noticed one of the things you really try to serve people, right? So can you share a little bit about your why are you serving, and how are you doing this? How are you achieving to serve others?
Yeah, do you know what? You got some really good questions here, man. So it's quite a pertinent question. Why do I want to serve people? Well, it's kind of a selfish answer, and maybe it's quite raw honesty, but it helps me feel good. So when I serve someone else and I know that I've done a really good job, then I feel good. And I love that feeling. I love the feeling of helping someone else. So it's very selfish when you help someone because it makes you feel good. And one of the reasons why it makes me feel good is, number one, the effect that whatever it is that I've done, the impact of whatever it is that I have done, but also that I can do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got that skill, like that kind of status sort of, oh yeah, like I am someone, like I am a person of value, like that kind of self-esteem sort of rises a little bit. And it's not always the case. Like sometimes, like And a lot of times you don't do a very good job, and you think a little less of yourself, but you learn from that as well. So no matter whether you're doing well or doing not so well, when you try and serve someone, you always benefit. You always learn something that can help you for the next time. And even in this podcast interview, for example, some of the things that I've shared with you, I've shared previously, but I've shared it with you in a better way because I learned from the previous way of saying it, how to articulate it better, how to help it get across better. And so one of the reasons I serve and I give, because I give a lot for free, is because it helps me become a better businessman. That's my goal.
Right. I like that. Except that you said it before, meaning I'm not that special. That's what I want to say as well. It's like, why people, and I know it for myself, why people don't like us always, or not all people like us, is because we're too honest and open and just flat out say what comes in our brain, and that gets us in trouble. And not everybody can.
Yeah, that's an entrepreneur for you. A true entrepreneur. True entrepreneur sees the problem, states the problem, and then gives advice on how to fix it. And I'm not just talking about like entrepreneurial problems. I'm just talking about problems in general. That's what me and my business coach, Johnny, were talking about yesterday. He's like, he was saying to me, I love entrepreneurs because I love working with entrepreneurs because they're just so raw and honest, and you know where you stand. And I was like, yeah. And I said the reason why is because we like to solve problems and we like to show people problems and how we can fix it. Yeah. So,
gets us in trouble as being a husband. At least that's
yes, it does.
I'm always like me to go, okay, that's the problem. This is your solution. She's like, I didn't ask for a solution. I just wanted to share my problem. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a lot of times it's just empathy.
Yeah,
it's just they just want empathy, and we're too quick to want to solve it. That's one big flaw of entrepreneurs, for sure. True
that. Now listen, I'm sure all Dadpreneurs listening now, listening to the recording later on YouTube or on a podcast, they would love to hear from you because they're very excited. Like, okay, look, man, that 2 Comma Club award, I would love to be able to get one as well. I saw a post, I think you shared your whole steps, and you have your group. Let me share that real quick again, right? So people can click on this link and get into your group. But you're actually now also teaching people, like, what are the steps to get to that award. And please share a little bit of your insights with us.
So, I don't feel that it's wrong for me to share the exact steps. Like, I want to share the exact steps with everybody, and I will right now. But it's very hard to internalize these things. Like, if you haven't went through it, like, you're not going to learn the lessons that you need to learn. And I'll tell you straight up how you do it. But like, for you to actually apply it, it's going to be very hard. So what I'm doing right now is I'm sharing a free course on my Facebook group, which is bit.ly/DM Tactics. You can join it. And I'm going to give a free course of the principles that took me to the 2 Comma Club. So you can learn from me what I did. I didn't sell any digital courses. I didn't do any e-commerce. Okay, so I'm a little bit different than some other people who got 2 Comma Club awards. I did not sell a digital course to get to that point. Okay, I teach English abroad programs, and it was in different countries. Anyway, the principles that I'm teaching are marketing principles. They're also business principles. How to have external growth through sales and marketing, and how to do internal growth through operations and systemizing. So how do you, so here we go. So how do you reach the 2 Comma Club? Okay, I'm going to give you it now. Golden nuggets. There's like 7 stages. And the first stage is that you need to have done something that you want to give to the world. So this is my personal take. Other people might have their own take, but this is how I did it. So you need to have trailblazed the path to whatever outcome or result that is special to you. So in my case, I went and taught English abroad. It transformed my life, my perspective, and I wanted other people to teach English abroad. So I trailblazed the path. Now, on the way to trailblazing that path, you came across obstacles in order to get to that transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And you now know how to overcome those obstacles because you went through those obstacles, and you really went through those obstacles. You bashed yourself against them. You tried to figure out how to solve those problems, and then you managed to do it. Okay? So now you know how to overcome it for you, but you don't know how to overcome it for other people. So if you have an outcome that you want for someone else, you create an offer, and that offer needs to help people overcome the obstacles. So in my case, it was Teach English Abroad programs, and right now it's also in business, like how do you get to a Common Club Award? I'll show you the obstacles that you have to go through, the things you need to learn, to overcome to get to that level of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you create an offer, you then have to be a student of the market. You have to understand the market. So you need to spend time going deep in one thing and trying to test your offer. And when you test your offer, you realize that what worked for you to get to the outcome that you got might not work for other people to get to the same outcome. And so you learn what their obstacles are, and you tweak your offer. You make your offer better so that you can help more people get the result. Now, when you're doing this, when you're testing your offer, when you're tweaking your offer, either they're paying you, I would suggest a low price, you're doing it for free, or you're paying them. Like, you need to test the offer to such a point that you're sure that you have a proof of concept. And this is what lots of people miss out. So this is why I'm saying, I'm telling you the secrets, but not many people will do this. So people miss out that they need to actually hone their offer and hone their product and make sure that it works. Make sure that it works. That's number one. Then when it does work, you showcase those results. For the people that went through and whatever transformation they got, they then give you testimonials, and you then use those testimonials for your marketing. And in essence, a business is literally just a promise that you will get someone a certain outcome through your offer.
Mm-hmm.
And if your offer is tested, it's robust, it works, and you know it works, and people went through that offer and they haven't taken much risk, they haven't paid you any money for it, or they paid you a small amount of money, and you've got them through the offer, you've tweaked it, you've tested it, then you know that you can raise the price and push more people through it by convincing them through the people that have already went through that offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so then once you get more people through, you scale up more, and you look at ways to leverage yourself. Okay, so as an entrepreneur, you've basically, depending on how much money you've got, you've been doing a lot yourself, and then you're making some more money, and you use that money to hire people, and then you internally build the business. So you've been externally building it. You've been building it with sales, getting more people through your offer. Now you're internally building the systems. You're learning the lessons of hiring. You're going to have some bad hires. You're going to have to reflect on, why was that? Was it me? Was it them? Was it the induction period? Was it the recruitment process? Like, was it because I didn't know them properly? Like, was it the task I gave them? Like, there's tons of things you have to reflect on. You improve it to the point where you get good at hiring. So if you're good at hiring, good at training, then you've leveraged yourself. Because if you're too busy training and hiring people, and they leave and they come back, you're not going to grow in other areas, because you only have a certain small amount of time every day. Mm-hmm. So once you fix that bit, then you work on the other systems. What tasks does everybody do every day? Then you look at the sales process. How do you improve it? You look at the marketing process. How do you improve that? So you're doing little improvements. Every so often, you'll get a massive jump in revenue, because you will have fixed a large, high-value task that you didn't know was high value till you fixed it. And for us, it was the sales process. It was our online image, and it was our social proof. Like, those three things were massive leverage points. And so then you get a big chunk of money, and you're like, great, I've got all this money. What am I going to do with it? And then again, you make more mistakes until you get better at whatever it is. So we threw away a big chunk of money, trying to hire the wrong people, and we tried to grow too fast, and it was just a big waste of our time, their time, money, time that we could have spent making more money. It's an absolute nightmare. And so in order to get good at being a business person, you need time, and you need mentors to help you to overcome some things that they've made mistakes on. So if you can get someone that has made mistakes and helps you know how to hire someone, for example, can teach you how to hire, how much better is that than if you never ever learned the lessons because you don't even know where you're going wrong? So if you get mentors, it 10x is your growth because you don't make the same mistakes. You'll still make mistakes, but not as much because the mentors guide you along. You're standing on the shoulders of giants. Okay. And then at the end, the last thing is that once you get good at all these things and not all these leverage points, then you just get more eyes on your offer. It's all about traffic and about persuading them through the funnel and growing your business that way. So that is how you grow a business. That's how you grow it externally. That's how you grow it internally. And hopefully someone would have got some nuggets from that. But as I said, like really, this is a process that it can't be shortcut. It can't be shortcutted. You have to understand the market that you're in, and it takes time to learn some of these lessons. And then you just cannot shortcut it. You can shortcut some of it with a mentor, but even with mentors like advice, you're not good at that skill. How are you going to get good at the skill that he's just said to you? Like he's just said, hey, this is how you do it. Okay, great. You can't just click your fingers and be like, I'm ace at hiring now. Like now you need to apply what he's just taught. And that's going to take time, and you're still going to get hurt. So it still takes time, even with mentors, but it's less time.
Exactly. Yeah, like that. And again, let me share. No, sorry, that was my link. My apologies. So this link, bit.ly/DM tactics to join the group, and there you get all the insights on what Mike's just been sharing with us. And I'm sure it's more detailed, but however, those were definitely some amazing nuggets. I've been writing them all down. I got more than 7 stages, so I must have.
I didn't know. It wasn't like stage 1, stage 2.
Yeah,
it's like I've not fully made the course yet, but I have like stage 1 is trailblazing, so you trailblaze. Stage 2 is brainstorming, so then you look at like, okay, I've trailblazed. How can I make a new offer? Stage 3 is then building the offer. Stage 4 is testing the offer. Stage 5 is tweaking the offer. Stage 6 is showcasing those that got results. Yep. And then stage 7 is basically traffic, really. Exactly.
Love it, man. Love it. So you mentioned something important, books, you mentioned mentors. That's very important. One of the things that I found out that's real inexpensive way to get a mentor is by buying books, right? So
yeah,
can you share your top 2-3 books that have really helped you grow your business?
Well, I mean, .com Secrets is like an amazing book I've got in my hand. That before that, I didn't know how to capture I didn't know how to capture an email address. Not just how to capture an email address, but I didn't know you could. I didn't even think about it. Like, it's weird. I didn't know that's what. Anyway, I feel embarrassed to say, but I didn't capture email addresses for like 7 years or something. Something stupid. Read that book and I was like, of course. How did I think of that? So .com Secrets is really good. There's a copywriting book called The Boron Letters by Gary Halbert, or Bond Halbert is his son who published it. And that is, you read that one book and you'll become a much better businessman and marketer. It's all about becoming a student of markets, and it's all about direct response and direct response marketing. Really, really good. Copywriting secret, kick-ass copywriting secrets of a marketing rebel is a good one as well. It's a bit more expensive. I think it's like $140 for the book, but that's a really good one. Trying to think now. There's another one by Dan Kennedy called Direct. Is it called Direct Marketing for Non-Direct Marketing Businesses? That's a really good introduction to direct response marketing. There's one that you're not going to know, but it's by the guy who is Rich Dad. So do you know Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Robert Kiyosaki. He talks about he had a rich dad, he had a poor dad. Well, the person that he modeled Rich Dad off of, because it wasn't really his dad, is a guy called Keith Cunningham, and he has a book called The Ultimate Blueprint for an Insanely Successful Business. It's a mouthful, but that's a lot in there about how to become a better business person, and a lot of insight into that book. And he's a great business coach as well, great business coach. But I follow everything to do with Russell Brunson. Russell Brunson, his training courses are amazing. I have to shout out to Dan Henry as well. Yeah. Dan Henry, I've followed him for a while. He brought me into the ClickFunnels world, and he's a great marketer, really good guy, really great marketer. And then also currently being mentored by Johnny West, who's might not be as well known, but he's a really, really good influencer, and he's teaching me a lot about influencing. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Thanks, I really appreciate that. We've came to an hour already, Mike. So let me give you the opportunity for all dadpreneurs out there that have been watching this, listening to this, and they're like, man, I want to connect with Mike. I want to see his journey, or I want to. Oh, we shared a group already. But what are the best ways to connect with you, follow you, maybe ask some extra questions that they have?
Well, I literally put a post in my group today that anyone can ask any questions, and I'll answer with a video. So if you go to bit.ly/dmtactics, then you can ask me any questions in there and connect with me in there. So yeah.
Cool. If that's, then everybody that's watching right now, the link is in the comment section. For those of you that are watching or listening to the replay, then the link will be in the description, and you can connect that way with Mike. Mike, thank you so much for taking the time for being on with us and sharing your insights and being open about it. I really appreciate it. Everybody else, thank you so much for being with us, listening to this. I'm going to repeat again, and I think Mike shared as well in this message. If you found the golden nugget that really stuck with you and are like, oh yeah, I got to do this, make sure you take action right away. Just writing it down, like, I've got lots of notes. That's not enough. Make sure you take action. So
awesome.
Today is ClickFunnels Day. So at 7 p.m. in 8.5 hours, I'll be actually having Shane Larson on the show, which I'm also looking forward to a lot.
Cool.
So hopefully you guys can join me then, and have a fantastic rest of the day. I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out. You got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. I'm looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.